Warning, what you are about to see is real paranormal evidence, caught via audio and photograph. Viewer discretion is advised.
On to Heerdink.
I'm Anthony Geary.
And this is another episode of
Beyond the Paranormal Encounters. This is going to be a Tales from Beyond the Dark episode.
Volume 2.
Yeah, Volume 2. And we got a lot of interesting stuff to talk about this time around.
Oh yeah, all one has to say too. So in our first season, second episode, we went through and kind of talked about some of our own stories, and then we brought some conspiracies that ended up being spin-off of Conspiracy 101, and just kind of a whole bunch of stuff that's paranormal. And that's what we're going to do this time. But we're going to bring you some special guests. We're going to try and show you some clips later. For now, it's just going to be Anthony and I, and we'll bring you the paranormal.
And Owen.
And Owen.
Alright, so one of the first things I wanted to talk about was, I'm sure you all have been in like a spooky area, or even maybe you're in your own home, you felt unease, maybe, I guess you could say, where your body is just reacting totally weird to something that's maybe not even there. What happens usually is, for me, your hair on your arms will stand up and you'll get goosebumps. And usually for me, it's like always, my whole entire body reacts to this. And what it is it's our sixth sense picking up spiritual energy. Like, I know I felt it a lot at Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Louisville, Kentucky. And, like, what happens really is a spirit is around your area, and they'll tap into your body's energy, and they'll start to, like, deplete it a little bit. So then your body is reacting to that by causing static electricity on your arms to, build up, and you'll get goosebumps, you'll start to feel weird and out of place, And I think that's just our body reacting to an unknown element that science does not have an explanation for at the moment. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. There's no telling what causes fear in a person. The anxiety. I mean, social scientists try to come up with a solution all the time, and thoughts race in people's heads. And you could, as a child, you fear the bump in the night. You hear a tree branch hitting across the window, and you think there's like an axe murder. You let your mind go kind of crazy. But sometimes you're going crazy for the right reason. Either there be a burglar, or actually is a murder out there, and then there's the paranormal where there could be ghosts or aliens. I wouldn't rule it out. Throughout my childhood, I did hear somebody walking up and down the stairs and closing doors, and I've seen them, and we have actual evidence via audio and visual from that house that I grew up in for 12 years of some kind of presence being there and us cleansing it after 2 sessions.
Well, I mean, it's not just really always going to be, the hair on your arms, I mean, there's always also other elements with it, like
heart racing.
Well, that too. And have you ever been to a scene and somewhere where something like grisly murder has happened there, and you actually get out and you walk to it, or maybe even a place where a friend or a family member has died or got killed in a tragic accident? You get out, or maybe even the graveyard. You get out, you go up to that spot, and all of a sudden, you get this feeling that comes over you that you shouldn't be there. Or even this grave gut feeling, like, oh, it's like everything's all weird around you and stuff, like your body's acting weird. To me, I think that spirit's depleting our energy so they can manifest themselves.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, like with the parent instinct where you feel like something bad's just going to happen, and you go and you rush home, make sure, your house ain't on fire and shit. I mean, there's just, kind of like a voice in your head saying something ain't right, and you got to do something about it. A lot of physical, but also a lot of mental. Like you said, with the hair, the heart racing, the breath, eyes dilate, everything, and all an experience. And we have felt that firsthand going into Waverly.
Even your parents' house, too.
Yeah, in the parents' house. Just the overall feeling, you're not supposed to be here. Like something bad has happened here. And you sense something else could be lingering around. It's kind of got a hold of you. When I was in my brother's room when we were investigating it, I felt like somebody was like holding my arm down, and it's getting cold, and a lot of stuff that goes with it. And there could be some scientific reasons to disprove some of this stuff, and it's worth looking into. There could have been a draft that one night when you thought it's chilly and there's a ghost. There could be a tree branch hitting the window, but then again, it might not be. It might be in the middle of the summer. The temperature gauge might say it's 80 degrees, and there might not even be a tree out there.
I think there's a big possibility that your brother Jeffrey could have brought a spirit home with him from Germany, too. You never know. I mean, that spirit could have been in a different territory.
Yeah, it could have been, but he kind of was already moved out by then, and we've been dealing with this since we lived on the east side of Evansville when I was only like 5 years old. So it's been a long history of occurrences. You never know. It could be something coming from one. It might not just be one spirit. It could be multiple from different eras, and they come and they go.
Hell, he could have a portal in his room. He just never knew it.
Yeah, we might have our house on a ancient Indian burial ground, just like in Poltergeist. You don't know.
Well, I do know that one of our main goals for next season is to try to actually bring a lot more action-packed stuff and give you a lot more stuff. And one thing that I was just telling him earlier was about what if we actually went and looked for a Sasquatch in Tennessee?
Yeah, I mean, we're not all just about ghosts. Like we've brought you the Pope Lick Monster. We've brought you some aliens. We are going through the lists, and we will look into anything. And it could be a tall tale. It could be the real thing. We're looking for demons. We're looking for aliens and everything. We'll bring it to you. We'll go out in the dark and we'll find the light.
Yeah,
bring you the truth.
We're just trying to get like a little taste of everything we can get. I mean, why just stick with one thing? Like, why just be ghost hunters whenever we could be truth seekers? If you guys say there's a Sasquatch in Tennessee, well, we're gonna go find it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there was already that guy who said he had killed one of them, so it's like a species, it's a breed, and if they're out there, we'll go to the end of the earth to find it. So
another thing I wanted to touch up on again was the alien topic. I know a lot of people are saying that, like the lights that they saw over Russia and the lights they've seen over Arizona a few years back. I mean, they said that they saw a big light that was a mile wide in Phoenix, Arizona in like 1997. They said that it was a mothership, and I mean, if you think about it, there's an Air Force base not too far from there. So, I mean, could the military be testing out new projects? Possibly, but people always like to jump and say, oh, it's not a UFO, they don't exist. Okay, well, me and him saw some unexplained lights last year, and I haven't seen them for a while. So, I mean, if it was an actual common commuter plane in the area, I would have already seen them lights again, but it wasn't. I haven't seen them since.
There's like a sociology upon this, where people are socialized from birth, through the parents, through the school, through the church, through work, and friends and family. They tell you, this is wrong, this doesn't exist, this is the way things are, and if you believe in that, you're foolish. And when you're a child, your imagination grows and you prosper and you go and you investigate things and you believe just about anything, and then people tell you what to believe. So to say you're crazy, conspiracy wise and aliens and everything, to say you're a crazy person for believing that stuff, well, that's just because somebody else thinks you're crazy because somebody socialized them to think otherwise. Well, I'd say you could open your mind. Some say you have a third eye to sense these things, the sixth sense, kind of like the M. Night Shyamalan movie with the little kid and Bruce Willis. Some people have a gift. I think the gift is to just free your mind from all stuff people have told you the whole time, unless they've told you this, believe in ghosts and all that. It's kind of the norm to not believe in that kind of stuff, at least in American culture right now. There are other societies in the world that have a relationship with supernatural as part of their religion, and they believe in spirits in one form or another. And anybody religious in like the Christian faith, to say there's no such thing as ghosts, it's like, well, then the spirits and like angels and stuff,
and the Holy Spirit.
The Holy Spirit. To say that life ends after death and there's nothing, well, you then kind of contradicted yourself. And to say that there's not energy that is flowing through our bodies right now as we speak, to say it all ends, you don't destroy energy, it just transforms and goes other places. And that's how you get like these EVPs, and you get this stuff going off on the K2, and it could be negative energy, it could be positive, but that's all we're built up of is a bunch of atoms and ions holding each other together. And once it disintegrates, it goes somewhere else, and it lingers in these buildings, and it can transport to different spots and latch on to other people because it wants to be alive again. So it's some work in progress that we're trying to figure out what happens at that point once the eyes are closed and the casket is shut.
I mean, to me, I think that the reason why we haven't had a really advanced extraterrestrial contact is because I think that we have the funds and the technology to contact them, but I think that whoever is higher up above the president is not wanting us to contact the aliens because of one sheer reason, and that reason is, what if the people on Earth decided to side with the extraterrestrials? If the extraterrestrials offered them salvation and, freedom and prosperity and a better way of life, then what is to say that Earth wouldn't just become a big, huge ball of disaster where, they just let each other kill each other off? Because, I'm sure the extraterrestrials who are more advanced than we are could easily take us at any time.
Yeah. And I feel like maybe that's propaganda and the science fiction. I mean, of course, people like to just, write, oh, aliens could invade us and stuff. Maybe something is happening where people in power are saying, yeah, just like the cowboys and Indian stories, you make the Indians look terrible because we just slaughtered them and they weren't even really doing anything. Well, aliens can be coming here trying to help everybody out and say, listen, you got a better life this way. You don't have to work. You can just have fun and enjoy yourself. And so any alien that crashes on the Earth for any reason is held, prisoner, like in Roswell and Area 51, all that, because they don't want that kind of stuff. Just like if you get a cure for cancer, obviously it's never going to be released because you want to make the money off people being sick. And you want to get the ever-going cure without ever actually curing anything. The treatment, I mean. So that's kind of the whole thing. You might think aliens are looked to be seen as in a bad light, or not believed in at all, but maybe they are here to save us from ourselves because they don't want to see a planet so useful with a bunch of resources go to waste. So that's just another theory you could think about.
Well, there was always, I've seen it a lot touched by the one of the guys who was actually involved with the Roswell crash and recovering alien bodies in the disc-shaped craft in 1947 in Roswell, New Mexico. He actually confessed on his deathbed that we were dealing with extraterrestrials at that time and how the government tried to cover it up. And he said that in the 1970s and 80s, when we were about to, embark on new technology and stuff, that we were getting, all this advice and new stuff from extraterrestrials by the species called the Nordics, who actually went and disabled some nuclear missile silos and actually set one starting to actually activate and almost started a nuclear war between us and the Soviets at the time. And pretty much, I mean, one thing I question about it so much is if in fact they did try to come and tell us that we need to stop attacking, if that we need to stop with the nuclear war because we're going to destroy our planet and our atmosphere, then why hasn't the whole entire world taken that as advice? Because now Iran is starting to go along with the nuclear talks about continuing nuclear creation and stuff. I mean, that just makes me want to believe that it was all bullshit to begin with, and that actually aliens and extraterrestrials are actually going along and trying to persuade you to use nuclear warfare because they're like, well, the world's already Earth is already fucked anyway from all the ice ages and stuff. So why not destroy it? Besides, we can get you another Earth anyway. We can find you another Earth because there's another sun that is close to ours that always comes in alignment with our sun, right outside our solar system. It's right outside. There's another sun. So what makes us not think that they could take us to another solar system and their fast stuff? Because it makes no sense. Why would they tell us not to destroy our planet, and then look at all these world leaders going ahead and continue with nuclear? This makes no sense.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of things are possible, and we'll bring you more topics in our next segment. All right, so I'm going to go through a couple stories, one at a time for you, about what's kind of been going on more recently, especially since due to the last episode, back in the first season. So, just a couple weeks ago, I was in advanced composition class at USI, and I was sitting there, and my table was probably about this far apart from the other table, and there's this chair that was pulled out probably this far away from the table, and for no reason whatsoever, nobody was around. There was no one sitting at that table next to me, adjacent to my right, and this chair just pushes itself in under the table, and I'm like, what the hell? And I'm like, maybe I'm going crazy. Maybe I was trying to move my desk to see if it was any way possible hitting it, but it was too far and it wasn't doing anything. So there was no way that there was nobody there. And so I pushed it off as, no, it was nothing. Maybe I'm going crazy. Maybe it was something. And then the girl that was right across from me, she goes and she says, did you see that desk or the chair move? And I'm like, yeah, it just pushed itself in, and it didn't make any sense. So I have one witness that said they seen the exact same thing as me, and it was nobody doing it. So that's strange. Maybe USI is haunted. Maybe somebody got murdered there. Who knows? Or they died, or a heart attack, or maybe there's the grounds where the buildings were built. Maybe there's a cemetery under there or something. Who knows? But yeah, that was strange how this chair, this far apart, nobody around it, just goes and just pushes itself into the table. I mean, I don't think I felt any kind of loss in temperature, but it was definitely an awkward moment for me and the other student to see this occurrence happen right in the middle of the class. And I almost wanted to say something out loud, but I left it as maybe I'm just seeing things. Maybe I didn't get enough sleep. But for somebody else to see it, that's definitely something worth taking a note on that paranormal occurrence. So you might be learning English, and you might be learning Paranormal 101.
Right. So I'm going to make this topic really, really, really intriguing that I'm about to spit to you right here. Okay. So I know a lot of you have heard the topic of skinwalkers. Well, skinwalkers are said to be some kind of creatures that can take form of humans and other animals. Well, let's just say that if you were ever to come across a skinwalker, you probably would know that it is one. So, let me get short. Let me get a long story short. There was a kid I used to go to school with in elementary school and stuff, and he seemed like he was a cool kid and all and stuff, but he was always really, really weird. Like, there was a time where I used to hang out with him after school and stuff, and he was like always talking about how there was a wolf that he would see, and I thought he was silly and stuff because there are no wolves, I don't think, in this area. I think wolves are like in the more of like maybe southern or northern, I don't know. Well, he was always saying like, yeah, there's a wolf in my backyard and stuff, and I was like always thinking he's just weird. And so like one day I did go to his house, and his parents were really awkward and weird too. It's like they were too nice, and they were like, yeah, come on in. And so I went on inside, and they had like a lot of taxidermy in their house. It was really awkward. His dad had like a really big bear and elk and stuff, and his dad was like, "Yeah, I'm like I'm a outdoorsman. I'm a sportsman, hunter and stuff." And then like the boy actually he came outside of his backyard, and he's like, "Yeah, we own all this property. We got all this, big, huge, like, acres of farmland and stuff." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to take off. If you want to follow me, you can." So we get to, like, this ditch line. And, like, he was telling me, he's like, there are these skinwalkers. And he's the one that actually told me about skinwalker. I didn't know what the hell they were. He's like, well, there's these skinwalkers that like to come in this area on our property, and they'll like to stand on the edge, and they'll take form of like the wolves, and then they'll jump the ditch line and try to scare me and stuff. I thought he was maybe on some kind of a drug or something, because that sounded the most dumbest shit I ever heard in my life. And then his dad was like, no, I've been seeing some weird things out on the property and stuff too. And so I asked him about it. I was like, well, why don't you just have a camera set up? You can catch it at night and see what it really is. It could really be just wolves. So he's like, yeah, I might do that. Well, he never came to do it, and they eventually moved, I think, to Wyoming or somewhere to the west. And ever since I thought about that, I always thought that they were the skinwalkers themselves, and that the whole time they were just feeding me a bunch of bullshit because they didn't want me to, to expose them that they are the ones that are the skinwalkers. I mean, come on, seriously. Like, why would you tell people that you see stuff in your backyard, and why would you lead me to your property to, show me maybe I could have been, like, their next meal or something? I don't know. That's just something to think about. So when you're bored and got nothing better to do, look up the topic skinwalker and see for yourself, because a lot of Native Americans believe in it, and it's going on. You can look up Skinwalker Ranch. It's in Utah. That's a real place. A lot of crazy stuff going on there. So check it out.
Alright, so now I'm going to talk about some of these, I wouldn't say, tall tales, legends, urban legends and myths. Just ghost stories you hear as a child. We're going to go through that. I'll talk about some of it, and Anthony can bring you some of his stuff he's heard. So, well, my dad said when he was younger, his grandpa used to talk about the Zodiac Killer, which was, in our last episode, is an actual person who they never found, and when he was a kid, the Zodiac Killer was actually around killing people, and his grandfather would be like, yeah, the Zodiac Killer's right in the alleyway, and he can come in and kill you at any moment. And so that really just scares the shit out of a kid, especially when it's real. But my dad would always try and come up with stories like that. Well, he would say, 20 years ago, on this day, back, somebody got murdered and now they never found the person. It's kind of like the Zodiac killer. Some people got murdered and they never found who the killer was, and they still could be out there. And as much as that's not like a ghost story, it could be linked with the murders, the deaths, the girls you could hear screaming and weird sounds. But there was always things like Bloody Bones was kind of like this guy who lives on a farm and got murdered and had something to do with the pig, and his bones, they ate like everything except for his bones. It was just a pile of bloody bones, and he like gathered himself back together and would still, kids kind of like the tall tales, like, you're not good, then Bloody Bones is going to come and steal you from your bed and stuff. So I think they even did a movie off of Bloody Bones one time. I was just like, wow, but yeah, I mean, you could have these half demon goat things, just like in Youngblood. They had this like half demon person goat animal thing. It's kind of like the public monster, and it's supposed to roam around the fields and stuff. And now we don't live too far from Youngblood, so even though earlier in the season you've seen kind of like a less activity going on at Youngblood, and it's kind of deteriorating and falling in on itself, there could still be, at different times and stuff, if something could be going on. It could have moved on somewhere else. We can all admit that although Youngblood itself didn't have too much going on, that people and the stuff going on around was pretty strange, because we had people looking at us and following us. It seemed like something, and at that time a bunch of people in Boonville were getting kidnapped or murdered, and we didn't know if these were the people and they were trying to hide the burial site or what. But yeah, there could end up that there wasn't a serial killer, but it was just like a lot of different things happening, and it seemed there was no connection though. But at the same time, growing up in a house that has paranormal activity and strange occurrences, like one time I could have swore I seen like somebody standing outside my window, and then I ran outside to see, and there was like, it was just like I went right through the door. I was right not too far from the window, and there was nobody there. And we of course there was the Shadow Man that would roam through the hallways and stuff. But yeah, ghost stories often have to do with like a murder. There was on the north side, there was a murder suicide that I wouldn't mind checking out. That house is still standing, and a lot of stuff in the Warwick County area as well, with the Millersburg Cemetery that we like to check out, and different locations, libraries. I mean, of course, there's the Willard Library that everybody in Evansville seems to know about, but no one ever gets to investigate it. I don't know much about that story's validity, but they've done said pretty much there ain't nothing that they ain't gonna let us check it out. Then you had the Dogtown. We had the Legend of the Public Monster. We love going to Louisville and can't wait to do it again. We'll probably go to Waverly again not next, but maybe this summer if we get lucky. We can get some people together, have an 8-hour private. But yeah, Public Monster, it's been a very successful episode. And just going and finding these stories that's been passed down from word of mouth, generation to generation. It was once just, a bedtime story. And that's what Ron Shilnick said. He heard it. I think his friend's grandpa or something came up with it, and ever since, they decided to do a little film on it, and we heard about it, and it just keeps spreading. The more a story is told, maybe it changes with each time, and some people believe it. There might be some things that are true about it, and some things that are not. But I know there's got to be stuff in Tennessee and more in Kentucky and Illinois and stuff that we can check out. I don't know too much about Illinois yet, but I know Kentucky's got a lot of that kind of weird activity, and Indiana's chock full of, I have several books on Indiana where, like, this girl was going to prom, and I think her date might have stood her up or something, and she needed a ride home, and I don't know if she got hit by a car or something, so you can see her on a certain bridge. I'll have to look it up where that's at, but I know she got killed, and now she just roams the streets and you can let her in your car and stuff, and then she's like psycho, and then she disappears. And my dad said there was one time there's the cemetery where you can go in, and you stop and turn your lights off at like around midnight, and the statue of this angel gets up and like runs around your car and backs up, and stuff. It's just a lot of silly stuff with the Bloody Mary and the Candyman and stuff where you go and you're in the mirror and you say it a certain amount of times and then he's supposed to appear. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff you could check out with that. It's kind of like silly, like slumber party, spend the night with your friend kind of stuff where you've heard it and it's old stuff and there might be some kind of origin to it that we can look up. And little kids like it, and they have a good imagination, and it just keeps passed on. Parents talk about it, and everywhere people have died. So energy, and through the afterlife, it's just all around us, just like oxygen. And so you can think, is there paranormal activity in outer space? Well, of course, there's aliens, and I'll leave you with that. You can think of different ghost stories, urban legends, myth, and all that, and you can send it to us, and we can look into it.
So, yeah, like how Tim was talking about some stuff and tales that he's heard as a child and growing up and stuff. There was a lot for me too, especially since I've lived in Chandler my whole life. There was some stuff on like there's a woman in white who is said to haunt Chandler looking for her child that burned up into a house fire that died, and she roams the streets and railroad tracks looking for her child. And people have said that they had took pictures of her and stuff, and she appeared in pictures. And there's another interesting place that comes to mind, and I can't ever leave this one out, and that is this old house that used to sit on Old Plank Road. It was a big 2-story house. There was always used to be like a candle that was lit in the 2nd-story bedroom window, and whenever you go by at night, you would always see the candle lit and stuff, and the house was like evil. And I remember as like growing up that I used to always ride my bike and stuff down that way, and I remember finding a bag of kittens and cats all cut up and stuff in that bag, and the police took the bag and said that it could have had something to do with witchcraft, and they all like, and the cop even pointed at that house. It's like that has something to do with that house for sure. And I remember eventually someone broke into the house a year before it burned, and they said they kicked the front door in, and there was a pentagram on the floor, and like a cauldron and stuff, and bones of animals and stuff. And I mean, that to me, I think it's a witch's house, and people said that there was a witch that lived there, and some people say no, so there's a witch that lives in Boomville, and it's like, if there really was a witch, needless to say, they killed cats, sacrificed whatever they could, get, and you never know what else they sacrificed there. There could be something buried under that ground today, as far as we know. But I mean, as far as tales and stuff, I've heard some of the same stuff as he has heard, like the Candyman and Bloody Mary and stuff. And I don't know where I really stand on that stuff. I mean, other than it's like a scare factor or a scare tactic to scare you, make you fear, and maybe it could have just been a parent's tactic to get you to shut the hell up and go to bed or something, Who knows? I mean, some of the stuff could actually exist in another dimension, and some things you gotta think about, because there are different dimensions. I mean, right now in another dimension, I could be a black kid, 6'8", 235 pounds, and Tim could be tall like me and I have no beard, and he could be yellow or pink or anything, and we all could be like living in like a dictatorship with Hitler as a president, or anything could be different, like an alternate reality, So you got all these dimensions and stuff, and possibility that spirits are from another dimension along with aliens. So you just never know the truth.
This is John. Doing a short little video. Anyways, I was gonna talk about the future for humanity. It has to do with technology and mankind. For instance, the androids with artificial intelligence that can learn. Out west in Silicon Valley and other locations, a lot of professors, scientists, researchers have been trying to develop new software that would work very much like we would work, in the sense that it would have a conscience, which to obtain that you would need to be able to have the capacity to learn. And we really would need to control this type of technology, because if we were to get, if we were to lose the control over the technology, a lot of very negative things could happen. You can see it, I guess, in the movies if you want to, but if you really take a look at what's really going on with it in terms of how it's going to interact with our lives, and how we're going to rely upon it more and more and more. And right now, we're even becoming very socially inept. My generation, especially, we've become heavily reliant upon technology. And the smarter it gets, the dumber we get. So, if this is our future, we got to do something. We got to. Otherwise, the survival of the fittest. And the thing that'll be the fittest is going to be, ironically, the thing that we build, and that will be androids that can learn. So, anyways, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed this volume of Tales from Beyond the Dark, and we really would like to have our fans and anybody who's interested in the paranormal, conspiracies, and whatnot, if you want your voice heard, just feel free. We love having guests, and you can tell us your tales and come investigate with us. And if you want to come do some Conspiracy 101, of course, we got that coming up we're going to start in the summer and bring it in for the fall, and we're going to take a little more time for season 3 of Beyond the Dark. And we would love to have more interaction with you guys. We might have a new platform coming up. I would love to get more use out of our website, maybe get onto a website more entailed for web series and the paranormal instead of just YouTube. So I think big things are on the horizon for Beyond the Dark Paranormal Encounters. We only got, let's see, this is episode 11. We only got one more episode after this, so for this season. And we would love to have more of a community for the paranormal and film and everything in general. We're the two-man team, but we can always add more people. So
Yeah, it just seems like that. I hate to say it, but it's like you guys are not getting interested anymore, and some people are just liking our stuff. Come on, we're doing the best we can, and we're not gonna give up. We're not gonna alter our appearance. Our appearance or act different or anything. What you see is what you get. So come on, guys.
we're the realest motherfuckers out there. And I'm sorry if you don't like me saying motherfucker, but this is my show, and I don't give a fuck. We're not on we're not on national TV, and there's no FCC regulation on us. And I know we don't have a bunch of money, but we do it because we enjoy it, and either you watch it or not, that's your own prerogative. But it is nice to hear from somebody every once in a while. I am proud. This past month or so, we did hit over 10,000 views on our YouTube channel, and that might seem like small to some people. Hell, it might even be minute, like a small fraction of what fart jokes and tits happen in other YouTube videos. but I feel like the market just is not right for YouTube. I feel like the attention span for a web series is like 2 or 3 minutes and you click, and it's hard to get a paranormal investigation all in 2 or 3 minutes. And we're trying to make it where it's not 2 hours anymore. We would love to hear feedback from you and what you think, but we can't tailor it to what you like, even though we're going to do whatever the fuck we want to do anyway. If you don't let us know in a constructive critic way on what we could do to improve. So please let us know what we can do to improve that make you want to tune in every single month. And we'll be glad to hear your opinion and tell you to shove up your ass.
Well, whoever the fuck that dumb fuck was who commented on our shit that we deleted, the guy saying he's from, where did he say he was from? Universal Studios? Well,
Paramount or something.
Yeah, Paramount Pictures. Well, I tell you what.
No videos on your channel.
No motherfucker, no fucking television company's gonna buy our story. No, they ain't buying us. We don't have to have no regulations for what we produce. I think we want to keep it that way because I want to be able to say fuck you all who hate us.
Yeah, you hate us because you ain't us is what they say in the interview. But true, we're all about truth. We're all about comedy. If some people like to take us too seriously, we are comedic. We do like to have fun. Life don't always have to be so serious. For season 3, I'm not going to try and build it up here because I want to know what you guys think, but I'd say we did a much better season this season than we did last season, and I plan on continuing to go up. I never say anything's perfection, but bigger places, better investigations, better equipment, more people, more interaction, better.
We're gonna like mine too.
Yeah, we're getting more experience every time. You gotta think. I'm getting ready to turn 21 next week, and we're both in our 20s. And we haven't been working on like film sets forever. I started this at the end of 2011 and done some crew jobs, and I might not be the greatest actor, but fuck it, I don't care. I'm enjoying myself.
I've only got one actual film, as like film that's not my own. I only have one other cameo which I appeared in. That's it. I mean, I really don't do films much. I only do my own stuff. I like to film my own stuff. I like to hunt, shoot guns and shit. But I mean, when it comes to paranormal stuff, we're serious about it. You don't see us up on the camera looking at me like Zach Bagans does and saying, "Is my face perfect?" You don't see us doing that. We don't try to bring someone totally different than who we are. We bring who we are, and we bring the truth out. And if the truth does not, make you like us more, then I'm sorry. Then if you wanted to dislike us and go watch a fake ass show like Ghost Adventures, then go for it. But all their shit is edited. Ours isn't. What we bring you guys is real, raw footage. No editing, no fake shit in the background, none of that stuff. I mean, come on, seriously. I hate to rant and all about it, but I mean, we're busting our ass off. We're only supplying the money that we have to our name. We're not wealthy. We don't have a lot of money. We can't fork out for nice red cameras and, sound equipment and a whole entire filming crew. No. But what we do have is passion and success in our blood. We're not going to stop, because you all say we suck. Well,
you haven't showed us what you have, and not talk about the fans. Talk about the motherfucking haters out there that troll on us. You haven't showed any of your work saying you're all that great, and you're on the internet behind a little screen being a pussy ass motherfucker that don't want to confront us to our face in a real person because you're afraid you're going to get shot, and if you touch me, most likely will happen. So I don't give a fuck what you say. I don't worry. Am I stopping my show? No. We have one episode after this for this season. You bet your ass
we're going to film more. We're going to film more.
And we got Conspiracy 101, and we're going to fucking keep bringing the truth. And even if there's only one person out there watching the show, which we know there's more than that because we got 10,000 plus views, that's fine enough. I watch my own shit, and I enjoy it, and I'm going to start watching season 1 again because that's some old classic shit, and I'm going to go through Conspiracy 101 and everything, and I'll just fucking watch it. I don't even care. This has been a great episode. We have fun. We're going to bring you our finale next month, and it's going to be a good one. And we'll see you back in 2016 when we come back.
Like they say in Russian, "Du ist Putin," which means no fucks given.
All right. Well, I'm Tim Heerdink.
I'm Anthony Geary.
And there's always light beyond the dark.